Hey everyone, nice to see you all again. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about track days for beginners. I've lost count of how many times many people have asked me, how do I get into track? What should I learn? What gear should I bring? Should I be nervous? How different is it? Whether it be on the forums, on Facebook, on Reddit, cafes, a lot of places I go where I meet motorcyclists. So today we're going to talk a little bit about a beginner's guide to getting set up and ready to go to your first track day. Let's jump on in. So my first track day was in 2019 here in Washington State. It was raining. I was nervous. I think back to those days and I think, what could I have done then that I didn't know now? And so that's one of the things we're going to talk about. But back in 2019, I knew nothing. I had 30 years of experience riding on the street. That didn't count for anything. I learned that really quickly. But the following year, I started doing some tracks in Las Vegas and a few other places. And then by 2023, I've made a huge amount of progress, as you can see from these photos. Something I'm really proud of. Now, I'm not here to teach you how to ride on a track, but I can tell you one thing, and that is, if you put the effort in, you prepare yourself mentally, you're prepared to listen and learn from others, you'll make a lot of great progress. Heck, if someone my age can start track at the age of 48 and make the sort of progress I've made, then I guarantee you anyone can. Let's talk about some of the tips that I recommend for first-time motorcycle track riders. First of all, safety always comes first. This doesn't matter if you're riding on the street or on the track. Make sure you have quality gear. Make sure you have a great helmet, leather, boots, gloves, pads, all of those things. Now, some track day associations require you to have full-piece suits. Others just require you to have a jacket that'll zip to your pants. Doesn't have to be leather. I personally prefer leather, but obviously boots, those types of things are important. Respect the learning curve. Have patience. Focus on the skill progression. That's really important. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing on the track. Focus on what you can do. And spend time learning the track. Get the opportunity to walk around the track. Find YouTube videos of folks who have ridden the track. Learn the proper lines through the corners. Lines on the track are very different to lines on the street. Really think about these things every day. Doesn't matter if you've been riding a long time on the track or you're brand new. Really important to think about, okay, how's my tire pressure? Now, tire pressure on the track can be very different to tire pressure on the street. Make sure you understand what your temperature is of the track and on the day, and what the correct tire PSI is for the particular brand of tire you have. Now, at most tracks, there's tire specialists and a lot of folks who will be able to tell you and give you advice depending on what sort of tires you're running. Make sure your brake pads are in good order. Make sure all your fluids are up to date and topped up. Make sure you've slept really well the night before. Stay hydrated throughout the day, but also in the days leading into the track day. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. And also, like my friend Rick likes to say, eat like a rabbit for a few days before. Lots of vegetables, fruit, don't eat anything too heavy. Really prepare your body. But try to be calm. We all find different ways to be calm. I like to meditate. Others like to go out for a walk. Others find other ways of maintaining calmness. But really try and maintain the monkey brain. Really think about what you want to achieve and go into that day with a very relaxed mindset. Now, when you get to the track, that first day, some of you are going to just turn up to a track day, and that's okay. You can turn up to a track day. Don't turn up to a track day and just jump on the bike without talking to someone. Ideally, use those first few laps to get a feel for the track and warm up your tires. Sign up for the beginner group or the relaxed group. Don't go to a track day on that first track day and think, well, I've been riding for 20 years, 30 years, 10 years, so I don't need to start in the beginner group. Yes, you do. I don't care how long you've been riding on the street, you're going to want to start in the beginner group. ideally find an instructor. Now, either find an instructor that's teaching someone and follow them around, or look for a track marshal or some of the folks that are working in a track day. Most of these folks will be more than willing to show you the lines. And that's really important. Just go out with them, follow them around. And work on your body position. Loosen up. Do stretches. Think about where you want to be on the motorcycle. Now, learning from others is a really big one. For me, I'm really glad actually that I started riding on the track in my late 40s and not in my early 20s. Sure, I've missed out on many, many years of riding on the track, but what I found as I get older, I'm actually a better listener and I want to learn from others. When I was younger, I kind of thought I knew everything and really didn't want to listen at all. But for me, learning from others has been huge. So ask instructors or experienced riders for feedback on how you're riding. Get them to follow you around and watch them and learn. Watching others, watch how they brake, watch their body position. Think about what they've got that you can learn. Really, really important part of your continuous learning and skills development, and something that I see folks slipping up on all the time. Now, it's also really important to remember that, look, a motorcycle track day is not a race. It's a closed, controlled environment. Now, of course, the idea is to go fast. And we're all going to go fast. You're going to get faster and faster, and that's part of the enjoyment. It's a controlled environment, but it's not a race. If you want to race, there are other schools and there are other track days you can do specifically for races, and you can become certified and start racing. Also, don't try and compete with other riders. Focus on your skills. You're not there to win. Again, it's not a race. Compete with yourself. But follow the track rules, ride safely, be predictable. In many ways, it's kind of like skiing. If you're into skiing, when you're skiing, just focus on you. Focus, look ahead. Don't worry about who's behind you, who's on either side. Be very predictable in your lines and follow those track rules, those mountain rules. In terms of what bikes should you bring to a track, well, look, any motorcycle can work, but sport bikes are recommended. And honestly, the smaller the better. I found that small displacement motorcycles are more nimble, more fun to learn and progress on in my experience. In fact, I've learned more and progressed more when I made a decision to go from a Panigale V4 down to a Aprilia RS660. I made the most progress when I went down. And in many ways, I wish I'd started on a much smaller motorcycle. Not everyone agrees with me on this one, but frankly, the experience you have on the street doesn't matter here on the track. It just doesn't translate. Riding on the street and riding on the track require very different skills. So again, to my earlier topic, leave that ego behind. Don't be the person that turns up at the track with, I've been riding for 30 years on the street. I know what I'm doing. You might have been riding for 30 years on the street the wrong way. That was certainly the case for me. It was a massive, massive humbling experience when I started learning how to ride on the track. I had the great opportunity to learn from folks at the California Superbike School, the Yamaha Champ School, local track day folks. It was a great experience. So when you think about preparing your motorcycle for a track day, you're going to need to put blue tape over your headlights and turn signals and rear lights. A lot of track days require you to remove certain accessories like cell phone mounts and your license plate. Some require you to replace coolant with water because coolant can be slippery if there's been an accident. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, check your tire pressure. Now, when you turn up to the track day, make sure you get there early because there's going to be a tech inspection. And if it's your first time, Sometimes it takes a while getting ready and getting everything sorted and you're nervous. So get there plenty early. Checks you're going to look out for obvious things like leaking oil, missing bolts, chain tension, all those sorts of things. So make sure your bike is set up to pass that inspection. Often if it doesn't pass, there are vendors there that can help you, but that'll cost you money. Now you're going to go through a bit of a learning curve when it comes to transporting your motorcycle to a track as well. I started out, that's my truck in the middle there, taking my motorcycle on a truck. That worked okay. It can be a bit laborious as you get older, doing it by yourself, and I don't like to have to rely on other people. I actually then got a trailer, had a trailer for a while, but my first track day ever, that's a picture of me on my multi-strada, I rode to the track, which is about an hour and a half from my home in Seattle, and I don't ever want to do that again. Honestly, by the end of a few track days, you're just going to be so tired. So unless you live like really close to the track, I don't recommend riding to the track. So what do you bring to the track? Well, obviously, we talked about gear earlier, but make sure you have a good toolkit, plenty of water, plenty of snack bars. Make sure you have plenty of sunscreen lotion. Make sure you have a place to sit down. A lot of us have tents and fridges and all sorts of stuff going on as well. But these are the basics you should make sure you have. So I talked about organizations in schools earlier. I read Keith Coates' book, A Twist of the Wrist, back in the late 80s in New Zealand. Probably one of the first books ever really written on how to ride a motorcycle safely. And over the years, I've been really lucky to spend time at the California Superbike School. In fact, I've done 40 days with them now, and I've gotten to know the founder, Keith, and all his team, Dylan, his son, and all of those folks. And they're an amazing group of people. And to me, the most professional, the most well-organized track school there is anywhere in the world. And California Superbike School are global. I've also done the Yamaha Champs Riding School, which I really liked as well. They have a very different focus. The way they teach is different. And I learned a ton from those guys as well. And I'll be doing another Champs School with those guys this year. And I'll be doing more California Superbike Day schools. But to supplement that, I've also been doing and continue to do a lot of local track days with local track orgs here in Seattle. In Washington State, there's a ton of them. But I was really glad that I did some schools first before I turned up to a track day. But anyway, there's lots of different options, so go check them out in your area. Holy shit, that was a long presentation, right? I know. I'm learning this stuff. Give me feedback. If it's too long, tell me. If there's things I'm missing, tell me. I know it was long. I'm hoping you enjoyed it. My next video, I'm going to be talking to one of my favorite instructors from the California Superbike School. Her name is Misty Hurst, and she's awesome. And we're going to talk a lot about riding on a track, but we're going to talk from an instructor's point of view, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So if you're into this sort of content, stick around, like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.